and Grand Bahama is preparing for a royal visit. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Jamila Mizik. Thank you so much for joining us. Topping the news, frustration has been setting in for months now. Their cry, a lack of business, and as a result, they say they are unable to make ends meet. Well, today the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism went on a listening tour in the Port Lucaya marketplace to see and hear firsthand the plight of the vendors in that shopping and entertainment center. Sabrina Brown was there.
The Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Deputy Prime Minister the Honourable Chester Cooper, and Minister for Grand Bahama the Honourable Ginger Moxie went door to door to hear the concerns of vendors in the Port Lucaya marketplace.
It is heartbreaking what I see here. We've been here perhaps for an hour, and I believe I may have seen 2 tourists, and this simply isn't enough to support this economy here and to help all of the vendors who come out every day seeking to make a living. So we talked a lot during the Grand Bahama Business Outlook about some of the longer term things we're doing, but this is of immediate concern.
Minister Cooper says they are working diligently to bring relief to local vendors.
Minister Moxie and I have already begun the process of talking with all of the cruise lines. All who come to Nassau, we're encouraging them to make calls here in Freeport. The Ministry of Tourism, along with the Ministry of Grand Bahama, we've done some promotional work. We've had our teams here on the ground for a week, seeing how we could tell the story of the product here. And we're also going to be meeting with the cruise lines that come here, as well as the tour operators, to see how we can get more tourists to this location. Having walked through today, we see good quality products. It's a good, authentic experience. There's a good variety of products. The warmth of the vendors was just stunning. Their resilience, despite very, very difficult circumstance, was very touching.
He spoke of other concerns expressed by the vendors.
We want to figure out how to get more money in people's pockets. There was a concern expressed about the lack of social assistance where necessary. But, you know, in speaking with the people, by and large, they want to make their own way. They don't want to sit around and get handouts. We recognize that we have an obligation to provide more social services for the people here. But what I heard today wasn't that. What I heard today is that people want to make a living. They're resourceful, resilient people. They want to work hard, and I want them to know that the government will be working to see how we can generate that level of activity for them.
Minister for Grand Bahama the Honourable Ginger Moxie says a major concern for the Port Lucaya vendors is beach access.
Many guests, they go to where the beaches are, and so we're looking at the pathway to the beach from the Port Lucaya marketplace and seeing how we can fix that. So that was one of their, I think, major concerns, and we're going to address that. Also, we're going to see how we can have vendors along the route as well, but to ensure that there's proper security, because that's one of the concerns. We've introduced a new program called new unit, Collab Partnerships for Development, and we're introducing a grant program as well, where we intend to assist some of the vendors and to encourage authentic products. And we're working closely with the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Development Corporation to ensure that we have new tours as well. So we're trying to improve the tourism product in general so that the cruise lines would want to come to Grand Bahama Island.
Vendor Lorenzo McKenzie thanked the ministers for taking time out to hear their cries, and he says they're looking for results.
The vendors are so happy just to hear their leader in the Ministry of Tourism and the leader for Grand Bahama to come, take their time out and to go to every shop, because I know they have other things to do, and to hear what vendors are feeling, not just talking but feeling. Some wanted to cry, some held back the tears, but it was delightful. And when we walked away from there, it was smiles, it was not frowns. There's optimistic and there's hope. And so the minister and the minister for Grand Bahama, they see it. So now there's an urgent need. And so we're looking for results, and I know we're going to get it.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Now, the Deputy Prime Minister also giving an update on the sale of the neighboring Grand Lucaya Resort. He says he is cautiously optimistic about recent meetings with bidders so far, and that a deal will be sealed in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
We saw some bidders yesterday. We're going back to more meetings now. We saw one this morning, and I can tell you it's promising. There are credible bidders to the table who have a master plan already for the hotel. So these people aren't just talking. They're truly interested in what they see here. They see the product, they see the possibilities, and they have a vision for the future of this property and the future of Grand Bahama. We anticipate there to be at least 500 jobs during the construction phase. At the end of the process, which is going to be 24 months out for the opening of the first phase, likely, we'll see more people employed on a permanent basis. But I think in the interim, having the construction jobs, getting the momentum going again, I think is going to be important. There is also talk of collaborating with the Port Lucaya marketplace and some of the other properties around. So I think this has been very positive for the discussions.
Now, on Sunday, the Deputy Prime Minister led a delegation on a tour of the Viva Wyndham Club Fortuna Beach Resort. The property, tucked away on the south shore of Grand Bahama in Lucaya, has been a steady contributor to the tourism sector, and the DPM applauded the resort for its role in the industry. Azure Quant was there.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Tourism, Aviation and Investments, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, touching down on Grand Bahama today, visiting the Viva Wyndham Resort, saying that it is a beautiful resort and there's much to look forward to.
I'm excited about what I saw here today. I wanted to come to show my support for Club Fortuna. This is a resort that has felt the brunt of all of the hurricanes since 2004. And yet they persist. I was pleased to hear of a commitment for the long term for Grand Bahama. They are and will be a strong partner for the tourism product, and that warmed my heart greatly.
Now, Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says they are working along with the Ministry of Grand Bahama and Ministry of Tourism to get activity going on the island, adding that there are some exciting news in the pipeline.
We're working on airlift for Grand Bahama. We're in active discussions with several airlines to ensure that we get the price of flying to Freeport lower. It is still distressing that you can fly to the Dominican Republic from New York cheaper than you can fly to Freeport. We're excited about what we see in the pipeline. We do need more room capacity, so it is critical that we expand the availability of rooms in Grand Bahama, and everyone will benefit as a result of the increased activity and the increased airlift to Grand Bahama.
Hotel executives President Itor Kalasi and General Manager Marco Gabi says they are ecstatic for the visit, adding that this is the first time a government official out of Nassau visited their property.
Great pleasure to have him and Minister Moxie here to support us and to understand what's going on here in Grand Bahamas.
I feel very happy. Very, very happy because I've been here since 1988. So I've seen Grand Bahama growing and then falling, unfortunately. And, you know, this is the first time we have a big meeting with the minister and with all the group of marketing. And that makes me believe that something new is going to happen.
Now they remain optimistic about Grand Bahama, expressing that they are in conversation with government officials about the way forward.
We are talking about to make a partnership with our commercial power, with them commercial power, to bring some new operators, to bring some new flight, to bring new airline. So everything is going on, but I think together we can do it.
So far we have been collaborating very well. We have been a very good listener in the new minister and the group around. So, well, I'm very, very happy about it.
Now, Deputy Prime Minister Cooper says he is pleased to hear of a commitment from hotel executives, noting that they have and will be a strong partner. I'm Azure Quant, ZNES Network News.
Thanks, Azure. It's been a nagging issue for years. The closure of a portion of West Sunrise Highway resulted in traffic being diverted, and many say that caused the collapse of business in that area. Minister of Grants Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, says the road opening is a step in the right direction and will bring more opportunities to the area surrounding the International Bazaar.
It's just, I think, a good step in the right direction for that area of Grand Bahama that has so much history. We know that the road at that time allowed us to have road race. That junk canoe took place around the International Bazaar, and we have a very robust plan for that area that would bring a new day really for tourist attraction.
Now, she says there is a lot that is going on that she cannot speak on at this moment, but residents that she encountered are excited. In other news, a ribbon-cutting ceremony taking place this past Friday, signaling the formal reopening and renaming of the bridge that connects Great Abaco and Little Abaco. More than 2 years ago, Hurricane Dorian destroyed the Little Abaco Bridge, resulting in a separation of the islands for the first time in 70 years. Now renamed Angelfish Creek Bridge, it is the longest single-span bridge ever built in the Bahamas. The $5 million project was executed through collaboration between public and private sector partners. The superstructure spans 256 feet and is a sturdy steel truss ideal for withstanding storm conditions and features a boat ramp and a solar street lighting. The bridge was built by Stefan and Mark Knowles, Long Islanders of SJK Engineering and Construction Services Limited. Former Prime Ministers Hubert Ingram and Perry Christie were among those witnessing the official commissioning ceremony. In other news, Grants Bahama is preparing for a royal visit this weekend. The last time this island was graced with a visit of the British royal family was back in 1994. Tonight, British residents here on Grants Bahama say they are excited and are expressing great delight about the upcoming visit. Our Miko Knowles has the story.
As the country prepares to welcome the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William and Kate Middleton, we sat down with residents of Great Britain who share their love for culture, their sense of fashion, and their love for humanity. They say aside from them being royalty, they are ordinary people. And of course, it was all done over a cup of tea. Virginia Caffaretta, Priscilla Ayland, and Kay Hardy are all natives of Great Britain who fell in love with the Bahamas and has lived in Grand Bahama for some 50 years. They think the royals coming to visit is a wonderful thing.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's going to put Grand Bahama on the map again, which it sorely needs after Dorian. We're sort of a bit the outside child with government, I think. But, you know, Grand Bahama needs that sort of a boost and that sort of publicity.
Very excited. I think it's lovely. And I hope we can encourage a huge amount of people to come out and wave at them. They're not here for very long.
I think Kate is trying very, very hard to be very special. And I think this is the way that the Queen is sending out William and Kate.
They also share their personal experiences of being in the presence of royalty and receiving gifts.
When Prince Charles was here, I was lucky enough to have lunch with him most days down at the Hayward House. And I asked him one day, I said, how old were you when you knew who you were? And he looked at me and he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, you know, when did you know that you were likely to be king? And he said, I don't really know, but he said, I can remember being very upset when I cut myself and the blood was red because I thought princes had blue blood.
I love the Queen because I've got a medal from the Queen. And I told you that my house went 5 feet under in the Dorian. Well, look at my poor old box. Look at it now. Somebody found this in the yard outside, but there is my medal from the Queen. See, there's the Queen, and there's the standard of this is the Bahamian one.
It is a medal of honor that she is proud of.
It's very special. Have you got one? Do you know anybody else has got one? I think it's very special, and honestly, I've only wore it once.
Carol Bailey is visiting Grand Bahama from England. She will return during the week of the visit. One of the things she loves about the Royals is their sense of fashion.
Kate arrived in Belize. She was wearing a beautiful blue outfit with yellow as well, and I think that was something to do with the support for the Ukraine. Partly. I mean, it was a beautiful outfit anyway. And I think it might also have reflected some of the flags from the countries that she's going to visit. Because here you're blue and yellow, right? Yeah, so the same. So somebody really thought it through. She's incredibly slim and she looks great in anything.
Now, when they arrive, the Royals are scheduled to tour Coral Vita. Bailey says it was a highlight of her trip, and she thinks Prince William and Kate will love it.
I'm not at all surprised that it's won William's Earthshot Prize, which somebody has already mentioned. They've got $1 million, and they're so excited about that because it means they can expand their whole facility there.
Another important focus of the trip is to see firsthand the damage left behind in the wake of Hurricane Dorian in Grand Bahama and on Abaco.
For about 5 months, 6 months, I delivered food out to McLeanstown. They've suffered terribly, and they're still suffering.
And we hadn't realised how devastating that hurricane had been. We just had no idea, and I'm so glad I've come to see it.
But no matter how royal they are, these ladies maintain that they are just like everyone else. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Ramiko did not even bring me a cup of tea. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this break.